Are you sick of newly released roguelikes being more common than Facebook conspiracy theories? Do you love the genre but feel burnt out by its insistence on releasing pointless copies of one another without anything new? Do you want me to speak like a normal person and not a coked up infomercial spokesman? Well, you're in luck, indie warriors, because for 10 easy payments of your undivided attention, I'll voluntarily turn the annoying dial from an 8 to a 3 and give you a list that is way overdue. One stuffed to burst with modern roguelikes that are truly, genuinely original, existing within their own unique corner of the genre rather than a shameless imitation of something better. Let's be clear though, this list is about finding your new favorite original roguelike, not dredging up modern classics that you've heard about or played enough times to be able to write about them yourselves. Now let's start with a relatively new title quietly released at the end of April and so quickly becoming an obsession for me that you'd think I'd broken a one-wish willow. Demon Lord Just a Block is a roguelike whose subgenre I struggle to describe, turn-based but with real-time elements, puzzle-oriented yet combat-focused, and deliciously creative yet surprisingly minimalist. The game doesn't even require buttons during gameplay, just the movement of the analog stick or directional pad, which handle everything from enemy attacks to perk selections to manipulation of pushable objects. Each stage will require you to take out enemies by analyzing their movement and attack patterns each turn and exploiting that knowledge in battle. Despite being turn-based in the sense that enemies only move when you do, quick timing will allow you to execute 2 moves in one turn in order to dodge or parry enemies, which can have their own unique synergies depending on your chosen path through the run. Parry haters, don't cry yet. This is turn-based parrying that does not require the reflexes you may be worried about. How does that make sense, you ask? I swear it does, just trust me on this one. I've never told a lie, except to my dentist about my flossing habits. So much blood. While each run has plenty of randomly generated elements, the sheer volume of surprises and interesting puzzles make the game feel robust and addictive, making it an early contender for my favorite roguelike of 2026 and one quite unlike any other out there. Another contender for both the year's best and most refreshing roguelite is Froggy Hates Snow, a title whose genre is equally difficult to define as nothing about its survival tag on Steam feels remotely accurate. Froggy Hates Snow is not a survival game in any way, aside from the fact that staying out of your froggy's little heat bubble for too long will make them freeze. Instead, it plays like the curious offspring of a cozy game and an incremental one. Each run will start you in a heat bubble where all timers are frozen and you can hang out, warm up, and access various upgrades. You'll then venture into the snow and dig a satisfying trail through it to scavenge gems for upgrades, which will allow you to do everything from digging faster, gathering gems more efficiently, improving your combat abilities, or even unlocking a snow-melting flamethrower. As the timer on the top of the screen ticks down, waves of enemies will show up and require you to dispatch them through a mix of dodge rolling and bullet hell style pattern recognition, which manages enough enemy variety to be consistently interesting. This is a game that gets a lot right about the roguelite genre, but above all else, the upgrades within each run feel extremely impactful and game-changing. It's cute, it's compelling, it's addictive, and despite the combat elements, manages to be supremely chill, pun fully intended. It's been some time since I brought up one of my favorite minimalist roguelikes of 2024, and this is the perfect list for it. Rollscape is a game that takes the idea of oddly satisfying mechanics to disturbing extremes, limiting its game loop to one single idea: watching numbers go up. Each dice roll will place as many tiles on a linear path through abstract worlds with dreamy, surreal vibes, powered by charming visuals and a surprisingly great soundtrack. With each set of tiles you place, the numbers on them will add up to be your upgrade currency, allowing you to buy perks to increase the numbers placed or throw in some absolutely crazy twists. At first, it seems random and chaotic, a probability-driven mess of numbers and tiles, but the more you master its unique rules, the more compelling the game loop becomes, not to mention the absurd amount of content for its $7.99 asking price. Rollscape's minimalist vibes won't be for everyone, but roguelike fans looking for something cheap and different will surely have that itch scratched. While my next pick for a unique roguelike is still in early access, it's effortless to recommend even in that state, with 98% overwhelmingly positive reviews on Steam for a reason. White Knuckle is a roguelike that combines sweat-inducing, precise parkour with spine-shivering horror as you escape an imposing megastructure. It takes some time to get to literal grips with its controls and mechanics, but an intuitive feel for its movement will come with practice. That said, anybody looking for a cozy time, like my couple of preceding picks, is better off looking elsewhere. White Knuckle is stressful, but I dare you to find another pulse-pounding, horrifying, movement-oriented roguelike that matches its special brand of nightmare. Let's go back into cozier territory with one of my favorite roguelikes ever made. High but well-deserved praise, I assure you. Let's Revolution is a puzzle roguelike most heavily founded upon the mechanics of Minesweeper while adding so many twists and turns so as to become its own special thing entirely. Each board will have you searching tiles for a sneaky hiding king while taking out enemies with strategically managed abilities and a careful eye for which tiles are safe and which aren't. While Let's Revolution's gameplay is endlessly compelling and its variety of characters does a great job of keeping things fresh, its fantastic hand-drawn presentation holds its own too, making no secret of its creator's pedigree as an animation studio prior to getting into game development. Accordingly, the game oozes charm from its every pore. It's impossible to overstate just how overlooked this one is, and I will continue to do everything I can to push people to try it, because as someone who plays a lot of roguelikes, I swear to you that this one easily makes my top 5 ever. For the love of indies, give it a go. Fans of object tinkering puzzles along the lines of Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes, this next one is for you. Uncle Chop's Rocket Shop tasks you with the day-to-day job of spaceship mechanic, with little more than an extremely detailed and sometimes obtuse manual guiding your way. It's an unforgiving experience to be certain, and one that requires plenty of time commitment to get truly good at, though has the benefit of including both timed and untimed modes for those who like their runs a little less pressured. Each of its minigames and randomly generated conundrums feels extremely detailed, and getting good at diagnosing a specific module's problem is an immersive way to make you feel like you're truly a space mechanic doing day-to-day repairs to make a living. Just know that this is not an easy game with a surprisingly prickly nature at times that's well at odds with its cutesy, goofy look. For those who can handle it, Uncle Chop's Rocket Shop is like absolutely nothing else out there, and does a great job of giving the roguelike genre some fresh air to breathe. Alright, that's enough puzzling for right now. Let's pivot back to platforming with Haste, a roguelike whose core gameplay is capable of building up such an epic flow state that it's borderline hypnotizing. Haste feels like the unlikely, randomly generated spawn of Sonic the Hedgehog and Exo 1, relying on extremely high-speed platforming through randomly generated landscapes that requires landing perfectly on downslopes to build a blistering, eye-bleeding sense of momentum. Hitting obstacles is severely punished, but plenty of mid-run upgrades can help you stay afloat as you make your way to the finish line of each stage as quickly as possible. Haste's immensely satisfying gameplay and unique roguelike builds do plenty to warrant a recommendation on their own, but it's also a beautiful game that runs fantastically on Steam Deck and happens to have one of the single best soundtracks I have ever heard from an indie game, one so good that it gets plenty of Spotify listen time well after I'm done playing. There are plenty of reasons I listed this one as one of my favorite games of 2025, but as far as original roguelikes go, it is simply legendary. Games that instill paranoia in the player by hiding terrors in plain sight are all the rage these days, but I'm not sure I've ever seen one tackle a roguelite format. It Has My Face is such a game, placing you in a variety of randomly generated scenarios full of pixel art characters wandering around and occasionally saying some random creepy stuff like, "Do you feel it too?" I don't think so, man, and please, zip your pants back up. Okay, I kid. The real threat in It Has My Face is not sexually inappropriate strangers, but monstrously homicidal ones. That's better, right? In each level, you must find your clone by holding a mirror up to your face and seeing which character matches it. You'll scavenge weapon cases to find a variety of ways to dispatch of your clones, and be subject to numerous twists and environmental effects as the game goes on. Acid rain will force you to stay indoors. A mysterious illness will require you to scavenge for medical kits during your run. Optional objectives like killing your clone with dynamite will reward you with meta progression currency for sticking to them. But above all else, the feeling that nowhere is safe prevails. While the simplistic format of the game threatens to get repetitive, its twists add enough complexity to mix things up, and there's a story you'll progress through by completing each chapter. So as far as roguelites go, this one doesn't lose you as much progress as most. Just make sure your aim is steady, because each weapon only gives you one shot and your clones will not be merciful. Now let's look at Cesto, a strange and eerily illustrated roguelike. The sun has disappeared, and somehow it's your job to traverse deeper and deeper into an underground dungeon to reclaim it. What's so unique about Cesto isn't just the vibe, though it's that too. It's the gameplay, which revolves around manipulating probabilities. You'll start every run on a 4x4 grid, each of which contains an enemy, a health potion, a trap, a treasure, or otherwise. Pick a row and your hero will enter one of its tiles with whatever probability is listed. Enter the tile of an enemy who's stronger than you and you'll take damage. Entering 5 different tiles, at least at first, will progress you to the next area. It may sound like Cesto is completely driven by randomness, and I felt the same way too at the start, but its surface level simplicity hides a much deeper experience. One where strategic use of items, special abilities, and collectible artifacts can so heavily manipulate the probabilities on the screen that you can master them to progress. The element of randomness is always there, as with any roguelike, but what's here is extremely clever while remaining simple enough to learn in 30 seconds. There is no roguelike quite like it. Last on my list, but certainly not least, is Kaz, a recently released roguelike with the fastest runs I have ever seen, many lasting only a few minutes. Kaz is, if I can be reductive for a second, a roguelike game of whack-a-mole, where the biggest danger comes from perhaps whatever keys or buttons you're frantically mashing to beat the target score in each 15-second round. Only the arrow keys are required, and moving into an enemy's cell will destroy them, but much like Cesto, the simplicity of this premise allows for far more depth than you would think. Not only can Kaz be a spectacular showing of flashy visuals as the effects of your various abilities take over the screen, but smarts become just as important as reflexes, as you deftly avoid traps, take advantage of perks, and do anything possible to make each round the most frantic quarter minute of your life. It's arcadey, it's original, it's deceptively simple, and it's disgustingly addictive. Much like every other roguelike on this list, by design, there is nothing else quite like it. For those of you burnt out by the roguelike genre, I hope this list helps you to find a handful of new titles that do something fresh and reinvigorate your love for it. A lot of games in the indie scene may seem like blatant copies of one another, and you'd be forgiven for thinking so. But searching a little deeper yields developer output with an enthusiastic sense of originality and experimentation. It's a genre with such a vast array of possibilities that it's fantastic to see devs testing them to come up with fresh experiences that don't just follow the successes before them. Give some of these a go, and let me know what you think of these recommendations in the comments. Like and hype this video if you appreciated the recommendations, and most of all, thank you for watching and helping to bring a voice to the voiceless.
Thanks so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel to help us continue to be able to bring a voice to the voiceless. Join the over 60,000 indie warriors that have said goodbye to the gaming echo chamber. For even more support, head over to patreon.com/idreamofindiegames, where you can get Discord access, early shows, exclusive content, and more, now with a brand new $2 entry tier. Or check out YouTube memberships for exclusive badges, custom emoji, and other fun perks. Support real people making real things, because here at I Dream of Indie Games, it's always about the games.